Last time anyone scored more points in a series than Kawhi Leonard just did. We'll get back to all of that in a minute, but now let me get you to the next story. The Lakers have found their head coach. Saturday, Woj reporting LA and Frank Vogel have agreed on a 3-year deal. Woj also reporting Jason Kidd has agreed to join the staff in a prominent assistant coaching role. So, you know the expression, if you can't beat him, join him. LeBron James and the Heat eliminated the Pacers 3 times when Frank Vogel was the head coach in Indy. All 3 of those series went at least 6 games. The 2013 conference finals went 7. Here's Brian Windhorst over the weekend with perspective on what this relationship may look like.
It's hard to earn LeBron's respect as a coach. You really need to have it when you walk in the room. And, you know, to do that, you probably have need to have been a great player in the league that he respects, or have been really successful as a head coach that has won something where you are instantaneously going to have his respect. Frank Vogel, even though I think he's an effective coach, is not going to have that. So he is going to have a harder time on day one than a coach like Tyronn Lue or Jason Kidd would have had.
All right, so Tibbs, I'm going to start with you because you're the coach here, and you've coached a lot of superstars. You coached Derrick Rose when he was the league MVP. LeBron is obviously something else even greater than that. What about the challenge Vogel has now coaching LeBron James?
Well, I think when you go in, you're the head coach. You have to sell first your plan to ownership and management, and then you also have to sell it to your best players. The best players help sell it to the rest of the team. So when he sits down with LeBron, and LeBron is brilliant. You know, I've had a chance to visit with him, and we tried to get him in Chicago as a free agent. He's got a brilliant basketball mind. He's been through a lot of different things. So that'll be the challenge for everyone. And the way the team is built and, you know, where it goes after free agency will be critical as well.
And I think you have to look at this standpoint of what he has been able to do. He can talk to LeBron as far as, hey, remember in Game 7 when we were doing this? What did you think about that? I think really give LeBron the opportunity to have an impact in what he's thinking, because he doesn't have the hardware behind him. So he can't come to LeBron and say, look, we need to do things this way and that way. It'll be very interesting how Frank handles this situation as far as coming into it.
Make sure everyone is aware of the perspective here. So Brucey is a 3-time NBA champ playing with Tim Duncan and for Greg Popovich. So that is as successful a player-coach relationship as there has ever been in basketball. So you've seen that up close and personal, how it works. You've got LeBron here. The perception from the outside is he wanted his guy. He wanted Tyronn Lue. He didn't get him. So how does that complicate this?
Well, it complicates it, but at the same time, LeBron James is still a professional. He understands he has a job to do, and he's going to let the chips fall where they may. You know, you talk about the championship pedigree. You talk about Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich. They did it together, so that one's X. You look at what Pat Riley was able to do in getting LeBron James. The rings on the table. If this is what you want, this is where you need to be. So you look at Frank Vogel now and saying, what is he bringing to the table? He's at a disadvantage in that aspect of things because he doesn't have any of those things. All he has is a Game 7 experience against LeBron where LeBron won. So what happens during the course of a game, he draws up a play and LeBron says, no, that didn't work against us. We're going with this. Then we start talking about, oh boy, there's trouble in the jungle.
I mean, and there's already trouble, right? I mean, it's already been this incredibly awkward period to get there. And then there's the presence of Jason Kidd. That's a good relationship that he has with LeBron. It goes back a long way. But there was also a lot of people who believed that Jason Kidd was going to be the head coach here. So when you've got an assistant and that dynamic exists, is that a complicating factor?
Well, I don't think it is, because I think when you create the profile of the coach that you're looking for, which I'm sure the Lakers did, and those were probably some of the parameters they set up before Frank had agreed to the deal. So I think going in, you got to get everyone onto the same page, and then you go forward from there.
Just put it on the table. This going to work or not? Are they going to turn this thing around in LA, or is it going to be what at this point looks like a catastrophe?
I wouldn't say catastrophe, but I don't think it's going to work because both teams, everybody has to be on the same page. And I can just sense a situation like this transpiring as far as he looks over and he sees LeBron talking to J. Kidd as well as some of the other players. What's going on in this is, what are they talking about? Are they going over the game plan? That's always going to be lingering there because of the relationship that J. Kidd has with LeBron James as far as being an Olympic teammate, and LeBron trusting Jason Kidd, who's a Hall of Famer and also a champion as well as a gold medalist.
Certain things people have said to me over the years always stick in my head. One of them was Marty Schottenheimer, great football coach, when he worked at ESPN, said to me, If the players are looking over your shoulder as the coach at any time, you have no chance to succeed. And that's the thing. If he's talking, if Vogel is talking to LeBron or anybody, and that player is kind of looking over his shoulder at somebody else, the coach is done before it even starts, right?
Well, yeah, I agree. And Mike, you mentioned this earlier. LeBron will have questions for Frank about, he knows how he'll be defended. He knows the challenges of the team. And Frank's going to have to sell his plan to him.
Okay. We will have more on this as we go. Stephen A. will weigh in, and Brian Windhorst will join us as well. But the Game 7 yesterday, the early game, another thriller, C.J. McCollum and the Trailblazers taking on the Nuggets in Denver. Portland in the first half down as many as 17, but in the third quarter they're coming back. And it was that man leading them. On a night when Damian Lillard didn't have it, C.J. McCollum most definitely did. There's only one now. Portland has its first lead of the game. McCollum with the bucket, and Portland has the advantage. Fourth quarter we go, and it would be back and forth. Portland leading by 4. Nikola Jokic, look at him playing the defense, and now he's throwing it out for Jamal Murray. This is going to be a great play. Oh, look at McCollum chasing him down from behind.
Great play.
And here he was talking about it in the postgame afterwards.
He put it right there for me. I just went and got it, Bron style. Shout out to my guy, Bron. From the 3-3. It was a mini version of Bron block on Iggy, and something that we'll remember forever. I might get a picture of that one.
Listen, LeBron, Game 7 of the finals. This was a Game 7. Don't sell it short. It's a huge defensive play, and then McCollum just finding buckets. In a game where both teams were hoisting up bad threes all day long, he just found the mid-range game, and it was working. Speaking of which, now less than 40 seconds remaining. There's Jamal Murray with a mid-range. Nuggets within 1. Ensuing Blazers possession. Where are they going for a bucket? Lillard says, go ahead, CJ. It's been you all game long. How many times have we seen that in NBA history? That little push-off to create a little bit of space, just enough. The fall away. 37 points for McCollum. Portland up 3, less than 10 seconds remaining. Jokic had missed a big free throw. That means it right now a 4-point differential, so they're in desperation time. That's not going to go, and it is Portland pulling off the largest comeback in a Game 7 over the last 20 NBA seasons. The Blazers are back in the Western Conference Finals for the first time in a generation. They win it by 4 on the road, and how about C.J. McCollum? Feeling good in the postgame. On Twitter, someone had tweeted that Torrey Craig played great one-on-one defense, and McCollum tweeted, great defense, my Aunt Fanny. And I cleaned that up just a little bit. So it is Portland that advances to take on Golden State. Let's go back to Friday night here and just give a quick look at how they did it, because Steph Curry, in a career that is going to wind up in the Hall of Fame, in the big room in the Hall of Fame, this is going to be one of the signature nights. You know by now what happened. Scoreless was Steph at halftime in a game without KD, and then goes nuts as Golden State coming around, finding ways to get him shots. Even when he's not open, he's open. It was one of those Steph Curry kind of nights, drilling threes left and right. Didn't matter who Houston tried to put on him. They couldn't get it out of his hands, and they couldn't get him stopped. Steph Curry would have 0 points at halftime. He would score 33 in the second half, finding teammates, and then the ball finding him, and Klay Thompson throwing him in. All in the second for Steph. The Warriors would win at 118-113 and advance in an absolute thriller. So they're back in the conference finals with a few more blemishes than normal. They're 8-4 in the playoffs this year. They had been 16-2 in the first 2 rounds over the previous 2 seasons. And so what we will get here now in this Western Conference final is a matchup of 2 of the best backcourts in the sport, without question. Maybe the 2 best, if you think about it. Obviously, the Splash Brothers on one side. McCollum, who was brilliant yesterday alongside Damian Lillard. I don't know exactly the right way to phrase the question. Can Portland put a real scare in Golden State in this series?
Oh, yes, they can. I mean, you talk about what Damian Lillard's been able to do in the playoffs along with C.J. McCollum. The deal, as far as it's concerned for Portland, it's about being competitive, keeping the Golden State Warriors, at bay as far as attacking moves. They cannot rely solely on just three-point shots. They have to do it by commission like they did yesterday in Denver. They played with one another, and the fact that Damian Lillard didn't have a huge game, this is only going to inspire him. He's going back home to play. So the last time they played together in the playoffs, it was Damian Lillard having a good showing, but now it's going to be others that need to get involved as well. And you never know what happens in a game of basketball.
And when you say he's going home, he's from Oakland, and so that's, again, this is the final postseason run in Oracle. And so let me turn to you here. We tried to get an update for you on Kevin Durant this morning. As of right now, there is not one. We expect to hear something either today or tomorrow as far as exactly when they expect him to return. Does not seem likely he will play in Game 1 of this series, and then we'll see. How does that specter sort of hang over what we're about to see? Tips?
Well, I think they plan on him not being there, and if and when he does come back, then it's it's additional and it's helpful. But this is a team that's won a lot of games before Kevin got there. They know how to win. They have championship experience. Until someone shows that they can knock them off, they're the favorite in my eyes.
And I agree with that because that's what it's all about. They can go back to the blueprint of, oh, what happened before KD got here? Oh, yeah, we won. We went to the finals 2 years in a row.
It's not exactly the same team, right? I mean, there are players. They had to move some players out to bring them in. They're not as deep as they were and a little older.
Well, I mean, but the foundation is there. Yep. Iggy, Draymond Green, Steph, and Clay. Yep. That's who you're worried about in those scenarios, and it's for different reasons. The defensive side with Iggy and Draymond, what they're able to do always catapults that group.
So I'll phrase the question this way. If Durant doesn't play in the series at all, you still believe the Warriors win?
Yes.
You too?
No doubt.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll wait and see. Look, I mean, it is a remarkable tournament.
No, it is.
It is amazing how the postseason can change everything. A week ago, we were talking about Kevin Durant being the best player in these playoffs and sort of changing his entire legacy. And then all of a sudden, he's not there. They win on the road. Steph Curry has a signature game. Every game is a referendum on everything in the NBA postseason. And we're just getting started on Get Up on this Monday. Coming up, some losses are bad. We will tell you why the Rockets' loss on Friday night was devastating. That's on the way. And while Zion is the biggest prize in this year's draft, we will explain why not getting him might wind up being a blessing in disguise. Just getting rolling. Let's Get Up on ESPN.